again, it's Jason. So Ayumi and I are deep in the mountains of Gifu today, and what a gorgeous trip this has been. We've stumbled across a waterfall, we've been able to go and visit a dam, and now we're at a monument. This monument here was put together, I'm not exactly sure why. The inscription, of course, is full of kanji. I'm going to have to translate it once I get home. But no, this is an absolutely wonderful place. Down at the house, the temperature today is currently about 37, 38 degrees Celsius. And then there's the 70, 72% humidity, which just makes being outside insufferable. So Ayumi and I are high in the mountains. We're currently, I think we're about 1,600 meters above sea level. And that means that there's a little bit of wind here. And more importantly, the temperature has dropped to about 28 degrees, which is much, much more manageable. And the humidity, it doesn't feel like 72. I don't have a, what is it that's used for this? A hydrometer? Or, no, I think it's for actual water leaking. Anyway, I don't have anything that measures humidity right here with me, so I don't know what the humidity level is, but it is much, much more manageable than it was at the house. One of the interesting things about this part of the country is the lack of people. Ayumi and I, we've met a couple of people. When we were at the dam, there were a few people there. There were some families at the dam taking pictures and enjoying the mountain drive and things of that sort. But for the most part, this second stretch where Ayumi and I came up to this monument park, it is well off the beaten track. The road is well paved, although there's rocks all over from landslides and animals knocking things over and things of that sort. It's not a road that is regularly traveled, and as such, when you're driving, you need to know exactly where your tires are on the car so that you're not running over these sharp rocks and puncturing a tire. If we did puncture a tire, it would be a long time before Jaff came out this way. So we don't want to be doing that. And if I have to pay for a tow truck from here, that's going to be like $600-700, and that's the last thing I want right now. So we are a little careful when we come driving this way, but it is absolutely gorgeous. So Yumi and I were currently right next to another man-made lake. This is the second one that we've been to this week. And much like the original one, or the first one, this man-made lake was created to, of course, hold water so that people can drink water during the summer months. But it also has a number of villages that were evacuated and completely covered by water as the river was encouraged to grow into a lake. And so this valley here used to be a valley with a couple of towns and a whole lot of agriculture, but now it's water. Okay, so there's a little shrine up here. Interesting to see how people treat shrines around here, because Japan's not really religious. The joke is that people are born atheist, they're married Christian, and they die Buddhist. And that represents the traditions that are used in a person's life. They grow up, they don't really learn about any organized religions. When they get married, usually it's a Western style religion. So it takes place at a church of some kind. Whether it's a real church or not, people don't really seem to care. It's more about fashion and enjoying the moment, enjoying the union of two families, which I can appreciate to an extent. And then when people pass away, cremation is the standard way of doing things here. It is a very Buddhist process. And that makes sense. Like in Japan, it's very rare for an entire body to be buried. This is a wonderful way to spend a Sunday afternoon. All right, well, it looks like we do have time to get that next waterfall, which should give Ayumi and I enough time to go there, visit, and then turn around and head back. I do have an appointment at 10 p.m. tonight because it is Sunday, so I'm going to be calling my mom tonight. And yeah, that's not a date I plan on missing, so let's get going, see if we can get to the waterfall. If we can't, oh well, we'll turn around somewhere between here and there, but it looks like it's 45 minutes away. So long as there aren't too many people going below the speed limit up and down these mountain roads, shouldn't be too much of an issue. Let's get going. Alright, so this is not at all what I was expecting. When I saw this on Google Maps, I thought it was something different, but you can see the boards right there, and the waterfall is over there. So despite the fact this isn't exactly what I was expecting, I think it was well worth the trip. Because in addition to the waterfall here, there's also another one over there. Then, if 2 waterfalls is not enough, there's a third right there. Well, that was fun. There wasn't a lot of opportunity to get too close to the waterfall. I didn't want to take the drone out this time because there are fences everywhere, and so that tells me that all of this is private property, which makes sense. The whole country can't be public. But what a lovely place. And the temperature is gorgeous over here. So it's about 26 degrees outside, which is so nice. It's still quite humid. I am sweating despite it being only 26 degrees, but an absolutely wonderful trip today. I'm so glad that the puppy dog and I were able to get in the car and come out all this way, but now we need to go back home. And it should take about 3 hours, give or take, so long as we don't get stuck behind any accidents or very slow drivers. A lot of people do drive rather slowly through the mountain passes, not only because the roads are a little more narrow than typical highways, but because a lot of cars around here have the smaller 660cc engines. Like my car is a 660cc engine, and when you've got the air conditioner on, these things are 3 cylinders at most, and they're carrying a bunch of people. They're a little slow when they're going up the hills. So a little bit of patience is needed when driving through the mountains in Japan. Not everybody has a nice beefy 2-liter engine or one of the bigger things. Occasionally you will see somebody with a Range Rover or a Porsche or things of that sort. But the vast majority of cars that you're going to find are incredibly pedestrian. They're the simple Toyotas or the K cars, which are all over the place in this country. And I have a K car. I don't need anything bigger at this point. But that being said, Ayumi's clearly tired. She was able to explore a lot of Gifu Prefecture, despite the fact we only had 3 or 4 stops. But she's quite tired, and she's looking forward to getting home. I'm sure she's going to be sleeping the entire way. If the temperature stays nice. I might just drop the top for a little while anyways, so that this way we can enjoy the top being down. That's better than having the air conditioner on. And despite the humidity, when the top's down, the moving air makes up for the humidity. The only downside is tunnels are a little noisy, and the tunnels in this part of the country are really long. We've passed through multiple tunnels that are over 3 kilometers in length. But one of the other interesting things about the tunnels is that as you go through them, because the temperature difference between inside the tunnel and outside the tunnel is so great, sometimes you'll go into the tunnel and it's just foggy because the temperature difference is so great. So yeah, if you are driving through the tunnels in this part of the country at this time of year, it's currently the beginning of July, so just be ready for fog just in case. But it's all good. It's currently just after 6 o'clock, and so it's time to head back to the house. Let's get going.